Hi, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the 2 for 1 podcast,
where you get two of us for the price of one.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Becky, and today we're going to talk all things astrology.
Right, should we get started and say what our star signs are and what our daily horoscope is for today?
Yeah. So I'm a Pisces, so my horoscope says, today an important goal might reach a point you've been aiming at for a long time. All those in your entourage have a new respect for you. In fact, relationships of all kinds are warm, open and honest, and you will probably enjoy the company of others immensely now. Romance in particular. Feel free to indulge in a little celebration. I'll take that.
Have you noticed any of those things today?
Well, I've been trying to get the previous podcast episode edited today, and I'm nearly finished with that. Nearly. So that's a goal I've been aiming for, and it's quite important because it needs to go up tomorrow.
Definitely, and it's a little celebration that after once I'm sure it's done,
yes, that's true.
It'll be a weight off your shoulders.
I mean, the romance, not happening. Not yet, anyway.
So I'm a Gemini, and if you don't know, that is the twin symbol of the horoscope. So my daily horoscope is: take each hour as it comes today. Let the day unfold as it will, and try not to push things in any one direction. Resist the urge to fill up your free time with errands or tasks. Being busy just to be busy is no way to exist right now. It might feel a little weird to have no plans for the day, but this experience will be good for you. If today is already booked, make a note to leave a free day in the near future. It's time for you to just let the world happen. So I feel like that is very true for me. I do like to be busy, and I do like to be productive and get things done. And some days I am just busy for the sake of being busy. Things that don't really need to be done or that can wait, I do find myself doing them. So sometimes it's nice to read something like that because it does make you think, I am just busy for no reason, and I do need to take time for myself.
Yeah. Do you feel like you took time out today to have a chill?
Yeah, I do actually. I feel like even though I've been busy doing bits and pieces, I feel like I've been nowhere near as busy as I normally would be. So actually last night I stayed up a little bit later and did what I needed to do, and then I could have a lie-in this morning. So I suppose I've actually taken that on board without even realising it.
Yeah. So one of the top 3 personality traits for Pisces is empathy, where we do whatever we can to make other people feel better or happy, sometimes at the expense of our own happiness. I do think I do this sometimes where I'll try and keep other people happy or make sure that they feel better at my own expense of like happiness or time or whatever.
Do you ever feel like, because I feel like, I don't know if this is one of my personality traits, but as a Gemini, but I sometimes feel like I'm very empathetic. And I think sometimes if you're an empath, you get taken advantage of by people who aren't empaths. Do you ever feel like that sometimes you're so caring and understanding that sometimes people can take advantage of that?
I don't think people purposely take advantage, but they always know that I'll be there when they need them, and I'll just drop everything. So when someone has an issue, then they'll come to me, I suppose taking advantage, but not purposely taking advantage, just because they know I'll be there for them. And I think the same goes for you with empathy.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I can relate to that. Definitely. I feel like for the both of us, we're both the type of people that constantly want to help people and reassure people. And I think from personal experiences that I've had, sometimes because you are constantly there for somebody, they just kind of expect it. Yeah. Like you said, not necessarily maliciously, but because you're always there and that's your personality trait, they kind of become reliant on you almost.
Yeah. So they do take advantage, but not purpose.
Purposely. And I don't know if you feel the same, but I would never trade being an empath for not. I do enjoy. I think that's one of like our like best qualities, is that we are so caring and understanding.
Yeah, and I think although it's like giving up your own happiness for someone else's happiness, I think there's a certain level of happiness that comes with making other people happier.
Yeah, definitely.
So following on from the empathy, the second personality trait of a Pisces is being quite generous. So they'll always put other people's needs before their own, which again relates back to putting other people's happiness before your own, or putting their issues before your own, or things you've got to do, like you'll sort of push your own deadlines and things like that to the side just to like help other people and put them first. So the third of the top three is being in touch with their emotions, or our emotions, which I think sort of relates back to the previous two, where you can sort of relate to people, but then also because you're helping other people so much, sometimes you can put your own feelings to one side. So although you feel the feelings, you don't necessarily let them out. And then you can get like overly emotional or moody, which I definitely relate to. And then I just sort of like rant to other people usually. I don't tend to scream at the person themselves because it's not their fault that I've bottled it up. But yeah, I definitely relate to all three of those, to be honest.
So the personality traits for us Geminis, I'll start with the top one, very sociable. So we have an excellent communication skills and are ready for fun, with a tendency to suddenly get serious, thoughtful, or restless. Now, I do understand this. I think I can relate to this, because I feel like if I'm on a night out or I'm meeting someone for the first time, I'm always the one that like makes a bit of an extra effort to speak to someone, or if we're in a group, I'll try and make the effort to speak to everybody. I think I am a little bit of a social butterfly. I do like to include everybody. But then with the seriousness, I think that ties in with that really, because if we're in like a social situation and someone's being left out, I'll go out of my way to make sure like the group includes them, and I'll say, listen, we can't leave anybody out. We're on a night out together. Like, let's not leave anybody on their own. So I feel like that's where that comes from.
Yeah, I definitely think the first part is very relevant to that first night out where we met. Obviously, we didn't know each other. We were just like on the dance floor together, but you just made me feel so comfortable.
Oh.
And that's, why we're such besties.
We're all
2 years later, obviously.
We need to go back there for our anniversary.
We do. I hope it's open by then.
I know. Anyway, the second one ties in a little bit with that, I'd say. So it's youthful. So us Geminis tend to be the Peter Pan of the zodiac signs. They are still into the latest trends long after everyone else has settled down, but this can also mean that they are childish. Now, I do relate to this. So I'm the only person out of all of my friendship group who still lives at home with their parents, and still in their mind probably thinks that they're about 16. So I can relate to that. I'm
surprised you're not following all the trends on TikTok.
I mean,
trying to keep down with the kids.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but I gave up after that, after I was still trying to get the Savage TikTok down in like November, and it had been like 6 months since it had come out. So yeah, I think I'm like quite youthful in the sense that like I'm a bit of a Peter Pan character. I don't ever want to grow up. I never want to really like not accept responsibility, but I'm just kind of like hanging on as long as possible. When it says like, but this can also mean that they're quite childish, I feel like I'm childish in some senses. Like I have quite like not a childish sense of humour, but like childish things can set me off. But also on the other hand, I feel like this is the Gemini in me. I'm childish, but I'm also quite like mature and responsible. So like, I think that's like the Gemini in me. I definitely have like two sides in that sense.
I mean, everyone needs like a childish person.
Definitely.
A childish side to their personality.
Definitely. It does keep you young and youthful. I think if you're too serious, too young, it does age you. So the third and final personality trait for us Geminis is feeling. So we are known for being sentimental, emotional, and will cry to their friends. Now, I don't think I'm like overly emotional, but I definitely think I'm sentimental. So for instance, for birthdays or Christmases, if someone gets me a gift, it's not how expensive or if it's like a designer item, it's the sentiment behind it. So if someone got me something that cost no money, but it had like a real meaning behind it, that would mean far more to me than any luxury designer item.
Yeah. I'm similar with that, because I like to keep like moonpig cards. When people get me one for my birthday or Christmas or like an anniversary, when that happens, I like to keep like the moonpig cards just as like a memory. Like the actual gifts that cost money just become sort of part of your life. Like if someone bought you a handbag, like you just sort of use that, and that's just sort of becomes something you use every day. Whereas the moonpig card with the pictures on, like, took time, and it's like a memory from that specific time as well. Like,
definitely. And I do like moonpig cards because they've got the pictures on, and like you obviously might not have a copy of the picture because like if someone else has sent it to you, obviously. But I loved for Christmas that you sent me a Christmas card and you like hand wrote it and drew the little pictures. And so for Christmas, like you sent me like the most amazing Christmas card. And she put in it like, in 2021 we'll do like the following, and it had like,
you better be able to.
Yeah, if we were able to. I like little drawings that she'd done of like pizza and like nights out in the cinema, and that literally meant so much to me. It honestly brought me to tears because I just think that's so personal that honestly meant more to me than anything. So I think that's lovely.
I don't think I've ever drawn pictures in anyone's card before.
I mean,
I'm honoured. More special.
I feel very honoured. And I think like when you've like handwritten a card as well, that's so special because I know this is going to sound like really cheesy, but it's like someone's touched that same paper. It's like a connection.
Yeah.
So I think things like that are lovely. So I think that's where I get my emotions from. I don't necessarily go crying to my friends. Well, no. I don't think I do anyway.
I don't think you do.
But yeah, I think I'm quite sentimental and emotional in that way.
So onto the relationship section of the star signs. So Pisces are thoughtful and devoted partners. They prefer serious relationships. And when they meet the right person, they will want to make things official early on because they're true romantics, most likely to be in a relationship with a Taurus, Cancer, Scorpio, or Capricorn. I definitely agree with the first bit about serious relationships. Like, I don't think I've ever had like a short, well, no, that's a lie. I've had one sort of fling, as you'd say, which I actually didn't mention last week. Maybe I should have done anyway. But we literally went on like 4 or 5 dates, and it was never like an official thing.
Yeah.
But that was very weird for me. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't like that. I definitely prefer a serious relationship and prefer to know what's going on. And all of my relationships have been quite like official quite early on.
Yeah.
Now I've never actually have. So one of my ex-boyfriends fits into one of the categories, into the Capricorn. But my other previous relationships haven't actually been in any of these categories. Compatibility star signs. I mean, that might be why it didn't work out. But I was drawn to them in the first place, obviously, for some reason. But each of these star signs is actually the dates of like my family members. So Taurus, my dad is a Taurus. Cancer, one of my grandmas is a Cancer. my mum is a Scorpio and my brother is a Capricorn, and I do get on with all four of them very well. So outside of like romantic relationships, just general relationships, I like my closest relationships do actually fall into the compatibility star signs, which is, I think, quite interesting, to be honest.
Yeah, really interesting. So that's really interesting because it does say in relationships, it doesn't actually specify in romantic relationships. And I think as well, I don't know if you've got any friends that fit into those categories as well. But when people talk about soulmates, I don't think it's just romantic soulmates. I think it can also be, platonic soulmates. I think friend soulmates are a real thing. And I think if you are supposed to be with someone in any sense, then you will be.
Yeah. So not many of my friends do actually fit into those compatible star signs. But obviously, like, my closest family do.
Okay, so for us Geminis, relationships, we see love first through communication and verbal contact, and find it as important as physical contact in their partner. The biggest challenge for any Gemini is to find an emotion that lasts, especially as they get older and realise that they're in a repetitive mode of bad bonds. Now, this is something that I can relate to. I think it's very easy in life to sort of go after the same person, whether that's a romantic relationship or a friendship. I think it's very easy to seek out the same kind of person. And I think for me, it definitely emotional and verbal communication is just as important as physical contact. If you can't communicate with someone verbally about how you're feeling and your emotions, that makes me feel uneasy, and I would never probably feel comfortable to be in a physical relationship with them.
Yeah.
I think sorry, go on.
Is that because you don't know like where you stand with them and like how they're feeling at certain points?
Definitely. Not only in like a romantic relationship, but also a friendship. I could never be in a friendship where I didn't feel like I could express my emotions and speak to them with clear communication, because like you said before, where you like suppress emotions and then sometimes it just all gets too much and you get angry because you've been bottling up how you feel. I feel like that's me. So I know in order to stop myself blowing up, I need to speak to people and tell them how I'm feeling. And it's almost like a compulsion, like I have to tell them. Otherwise I know that what comes on later down the line will be so much worse.
So would you prefer me to tell you how I feel as well?
Definitely.
Because although I like to suppress mine to make other people feel happier, you'd prefer me to just tell it how it is.
Because from my point of view of telling other people, I think, well, first of all, if they don't know, they can't do anything to fix it. And second of all, by me keeping hold of this, I'm only hurting myself. They don't know. Yeah. They're living their lives blissfully unaware. Like, it's only affecting me.
Yeah.
And then, like, from you telling me, I definitely want to know, because, like, similarly to that, I would want the opportunity to try and make it right, try and fix the problem. And also, I think, I'm an approachable enough person that anybody, if they felt like I'd done something that had upset them, that they could come to me and would know that I would take it the right way. Sometimes it's not always that easy, but I feel like with myself, I feel like people could definitely speak to me and just say, oh, I didn't really like how we handled that. And yeah, I'd feel embarrassed for myself that, maybe I hadn't handled myself in the best way, but I would not be angry at the person for bringing it to my attention. If anything, I'd be grateful, because if someone's a true friend, then they'll pull you up on your mistakes and want to make you a better person.
Yeah. And then if you can like move past that together, then I think it makes you bond a bit stronger. Definitely. As well.
100%. So yeah, I think in the future as well, if you've sort of like broken down that barrier, then in the future you know how to approach things with one another. because I've approached that before and that went really well. So if I have another problem in the future, I can do the same thing. If that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. So are you like a hugger with friends as well as like in a relationship, or do you only feel comfortable like that once you've had the emotional connection as well?
No, so I would say I'm a hugger. I'm like a very like emotional person, but I won't hug someone if I don't feel the emotional side. So yes and no a bit. So if for instance, when we first met, I know we keep going back to this, but it's just so relevant. So when we first met, that I remember the morning after we left, I like gave you a hug because we'd had like a really good time together and I really liked you. And I was like, I want to give her a hug. If we hadn't have like vibed, then I wouldn't have, because I'm not fake. So I wouldn't have hugged you if I didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm not a hugger for the sake of it, how some people are just like, we'll give anyone a hug. If you like vibe with someone and you've got a good connection, then I'm a very loving person and I want to express that. But if not, then...
Because some people like to hug when they first meet someone. I don't personally like that because I feel uncomfortable. Because it's like, how tight a hug do you do? And it's sort of like a handshake, but you're like your full body. And it's like, I don't know this person. I don't really want to hug you. Just anyone, if you ever meet me,
don't hug
don't want to hug. But yeah, I'm the same. Like once you've had that connection, like even if we'd gone our like separate ways on the night at the end of the night, then I think we'd have hugged then as well.
Yeah.
So just like any sort of actual emotional connection before hugging.
Yeah.
Or any physical contact.
Yeah. Because it's almost like, this is the only way I can describe it, but it's almost like if someone apologises but doesn't mean it, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Like all these YouTubers that make apology videos and then just carry on doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
It's like, well, there's no point in apologising, was there? Like,
exactly.
And it's the same with friends and people you're in a relationship with. If their actions don't change, then the apology didn't mean anything.
Exactly. So it's like, if you don't feel anything for that person, then that hug doesn't mean anything. That makes sense. It's just a bit pointless. Just say hi.
Yeah. So on to quite an interesting topic to do with star signs is like jobs and how jobs can be compatible with your star sign as well. So with a Pisces, apparently we don't excel in the workplace and we can get caught up in our own imaginations. Jobs that require strong logical skills are typically not those that Pisces will thrive in. Good jobs that include caring for others or focusing on creativity, so like a nurse, a writer, a teacher, a photographer, or a graphic designer. So I think I kind of like agree and disagree with this for myself. So obviously my current job as an accountant, I do require like strong logical skills, which I think I do have, but my job kind of does lack that creativity that like a photographer or a graphic designer has, which is why I've started up like the YouTube channel and the podcast, just to have that creative outlet. Because I've always had an interest in like photography, graphic design, editing, which I didn't realise before, but like it's sort of the same lines.
So in the first lockdown, you loved your paint by numbers.
Yeah.
So after a day of like working on probably very important stuff where you were being challenged constantly, you seemed like it was nice to, I'd say, come home, but you're working from home. So like retire to your lounge and do your paint by numbers. Is the creativity more of like a relaxing outlet for you as well? Is it something that you enjoy doing because it's relaxing and it's sort of, you know how they say like left hand side of your brain and right hand side of your brain, it's like you've been using your left hand side of your brain all day, so that can switch off and then your right hand side can take over. Is that something that you find?
I suppose like I kind of unwind doing the creative stuff. So like at the weekends now I'm doing the creative stuff like editing and recording these like podcasts and stuff. And I do like look forward to the weekend to have the break of doing the creative stuff to sort of unwind.
So for us Geminis, we have a constant hunger for new impulses, which could boost our productivity as a freelancer. What's more, a Gemini's creativity could drive them to take up some new jobs where they really would shine. Good jobs for Geminis include a content writer, marketer, journalist, teacher, and tour guide. Now, this is really interesting because when I was about 18, I think I'd just turned 18, and I was in a job that I didn't really enjoy. And I applied to TUI to be a tour guide for a summer season in a resort. So I went to the interview. It was in Manchester. It was like a group interview, and it was something that I was really considering doing. For me, I was never going to do a season in Magaluf or anything like that. So I was like, right, this is something that I really want to do. Went to the interview. It was really good. I could really imagine myself doing it. But then, real life kicks in. I thought, oh, do I really want to leave my friends for 6 months? Do I really want to be away from my family? Do I really want to go and live in another country where they drive on the opposite side of the road and I don't really speak the language? So I decided not to go, but that is something that I've always thought, imagine if I'd have done that. Imagine just if I'd have gone for it.
So it's something you wanted to do, but your like logical side of your brain sort of kicked in and thought,
definitely,
it's not really viable.
And also, I think this is where it comes in the impulses, because I can be quite impulsive. And at the time I was really tempted to go. But then another part of me thought, well, what am I going to do when I come back? It was only a 6-month contract, because obviously when you're on holiday, a lot of the TUI sites are only open like seasonally from the March to the October. So I thought, well, if I come back in October, I haven't got a job to come back to. So I mean, the sensible side of my Gemini, I suppose, took over. But that is really interesting that's come up, because that is something that I was really close to going and doing.
Did you stay in the job that you weren't enjoying then? Or did you find something else?
Yeah, so I stayed in the job. I think I stayed in the job for a couple more months. And then I moved to a different role, but within the same company, and I enjoyed that a lot more.
Right, okay.
So it worked out, but I always wonder, imagine if I'd gone and done that and lived an amazing life in Spain.
Yeah. So on the content writer thing, you're very good at researching and writing the content, like for these podcast episodes. So like, is that actually something you enjoy doing, the research and the content?
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy watching other people on YouTube. I know we both do. I know we're both like big fans of other YouTubers. But something that I really enjoy is taking inspiration from other people and then twisting it and making it your own. So I love doing the research, and I love taking inspiration, but also coming up with your completely new ideas on topics and how you can make it your own. Because as much as I think it's good to jump on trends, I think it's good to have your own style and to do things genuinely how you would do them. So that's something that I really enjoy, and I love doing the research, because I think not only can you learn a lot about it, you can also implement it into your show, and also your life. You can read stuff and think, oh, that might not be relevant for the show, but I can actually use that this week.
Yeah, I mean, you've definitely come up with video ideas for me and my YouTube channel, some of which, when lockdown is over, Sarah's gonna feature in. But yeah, you were very good at just coming up with ideas for me that I hadn't necessarily thought of, from either like seeing it from other people and then like putting your own twist on it, or just new ideas. And I'm like, that's such a good idea.
Yeah, I think I just listen to people as well. So even if it's people having conversations when I'm out and about and I hear them say, oh, we played this game last weekend, I think that actually sounds like a really good game that we could play in a video.
Yeah.
Especially because I know the content that we put on here and the content that you put on your personal channel is very relatable and is very genuine to what we would normally be doing. So that makes it a lot easier. You know, if we were all, you know, if the girl gang was having like a sleepover at your house, it's something that we probably would be doing anyway. It's just we adapt it for the video.
And film it.
I film it, obviously.
Yeah. Because then it gives people an insight into like our lives and our like that we do have normal lives.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I know the vlogs that I watch, it gives you a nice insight into what that person actually gets up to in the day and what they're like with their like family and friends and stuff. Because a lot of the time you just see how they're like in an what am I trying to say? A sit down video. But it's nice to see them out and about doing their normal day-to-day life and seeing how normal it is and how much you can actually relate to them.
And you see people getting the Starbucks orders and doing the returns for the day and getting all the deliveries that they might need to ship out for the business. It puts me in the right mindset to go and do what I need to do and do my task list. So I think definitely vlogs don't only just make it relatable, but just motivate you in day-to-day life, which sometimes it's not always about the big picture, especially at the moment. Sometimes you don't need to be motivated to start a new business or build an empire. Sometimes we just need to be motivated to make the day as best as we can. So definitely, I think it's good when you see people online who are relatable. And also, I don't know if you find this when you watch vlogs on YouTube, but it's nice to see people like being productive. Sometimes if I wake up, say 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and I just lie in bed watching YouTube or Netflix all day, and I watch a vlog.
Yeah, definitely.
So even though our star signs are quite different in a lot of ways, I think they're quite similar in the sense that we're both empaths, we're both very kind and caring people, we're both social and we'll go out of our way to speak to everybody and, you know, make the best of a situation. So basically, I think we're both just lovely people, and that's what's tied us together.
Yeah, and we're both creative, so a podcast is the perfect thing for us to join together. A little venture.
But how strange that our star signs weren't compatible with one another when they're clearly so similar.
I know. And like our personalities are so compatible as well. Even from like what the internet says our star sign personalities are, like they should fit together. So I don't know why they're not in the compatibility thing.
Maybe we're like the exception to the rule.
Yeah. I mean, we're obviously compatible, so it's fine.
Okay, so speaking of horoscopes, next week join us for Becky's birthday special episode where we'll be welcoming her to the Club 24. We'll also be joined by a special guest for lots of celebrations.
Yeah, you won't want to miss it, so make sure you click the subscribe button down below and click on the bell to get notified every single time we post. If you liked this video, click the like button and comment down below what your star sign is. Thanks for watching. Bye.